Hey, hello. It's Sunday, and yeah, I've been trying to wake up earlier today, but I'm still very tired. Sorry about that. And I think, I think first thing first, because I think at 1 is still too early for a lot of people, because I've been noticing that there isn't many people watching it live, even though people, on Twitter say that they're interested. So and they watch the video afterwards. But I still want people to watch it live and ask me questions. I think that would be better, because we are going to go to more like deeper, more complex things like very soon. So I think having like people that's live that could ask questions that I know what people think about, like what they want to know, um, would be much better. So I decided that maybe starting from next week, we'll move this 1 hour later. So yeah, I think that I just want more people to be able to catch it live. So yeah, so that would be at 2 p.m. UK time instead from next week. So rather than 1 p.m. And yeah, so I guess because it's Sunday and people just like want to maybe more relax and don't wake up, like they don't have to wake up and oh my god, I have to go to the class. So I think yeah, so I think having this later, I think it will be better. Also better for me as well because like I usually also stay up late on Saturday. So yeah, let's try that and see if that's better for the live view, because I really need that. I really need the live view to, like, I really want to know what people want to see. So yeah. Uh, so that's that, and I don't think I gotta give a self introduction again because it's been like the fifth one, I believe. So yeah, I think it's just gonna. I hope you already know me. If not, you can go to my website, check.dev, and all my recordings will be there as well. So in case you wonder, like, oh, how can I catch up with the previous videos, that you can go to my website to do that. And usually I would have this slides deck ready, for you to download. So there's this basically link there that you can grab the slides. And so I think today we'll do it a little bit shorter, so it won't be an hour and a half. That's a lot. But I'm trying to cover writing functions and maybe a little bit of like how to use module. We are not writing a module yet. Well, maybe we could, but like you could just like write a script and then just use import to import it to your other script. So, but we are not writing a proper packaged library. Don't worry about that. We may do that in the future, but not now. Um, so yeah, I think the main focus will be how to use function and try to, because remember before in the previous weeks that we have a lot of we have a lot of code that you have to declare a variable at the beginning, but those would most ideally will be like an input by the user. So the best way to do it is to wrap it up in a function. So when you kind of take the user's input, you can just like put it into the function. You can put this function in somewhere else. You can put different inputs in it. So function is a very common thing that like we have to learn how to use it. And so like you would use it everywhere. It's rare that the Python code doesn't have a function. So yeah, that's why it's a big topic, and today we'll be focusing on that. And actually there's a lot to talk about. I just try to cover as much as I think that is good to know at this stage. But I think when we go to classes, then we kind of go deeper into what's actually in a function, or like it will be more complicated actually. So yeah, I think right now we just try to learn the basic concept. Just think of it as like we wrap up some code and take some inputs and then do something and then return some output. So but to recap, so what we have done in the previous week is that's also a very important thing, that we learned different types of Python objects. So we learned there's numbers, there's integer, float, and we have uh, you know uh, words or sentence, the string. Also, we can put things, together to wrap it together as a list. So it kind of like is a sequence of things. And a dictionary, so that's a key value pair. So you have a lot of things that you bundle together. By knowing the key, you can find the value of it. Boolean, it's just true or false. And well, with them, we have a lot of actually built-in functions that is already there. So we already use function without thinking too much. But I think today we just gotta see if we can dive in a little bit to know that to see like we can write our own function and kind of know what a function does, and like some things that we have to be careful about, using functions or creating or writing our own functions. And also last week we learned the control flow. So we learned that we have the if else. So sometimes you don't want the program just do things like one by one by one. You want to, depending on the situation, for example, whether you are to drink, then it will kind of go to different paths that whether you would be served with the beer or not. So sometimes we call that branching. So you have to go to a different branch to do different things based on the condition. For loop, so there's you have a list or a dictionary, so a bunch of things. Then you want to, for each one of them you do similar things. So you do it again and again, or sometimes just like do things certain number of times, like do something 10 times. So you have a loop, the for loop. A while loop is that sometimes you don't know how many times you're going to loop through it. You don't know how many things that you have, but you have a condition that you check whether whether if something is true. Like once you hit that like condition, then I'm happy. I'll just stop. So or if I haven't hit it yet, then I'll just keep on doing it. So that's a while loop. So I hope there will be some questions so I can answer. I think that would be great. So that's why I'm moving this 1 hour later to be at 2 p.m. on Sunday. So it's not too early. So it's like easier for people, and I really want people to be watching it live and chat with me. So yeah. So let's do that. And um, so functions. Well, uh, like I said, sometimes you want to get an input, so you basically do the same thing, but you want to take an input, and based on that, you do things slightly different and give an output. So it's like a factory. So you have the materials coming in, you do those work, so it'll be the same. Like let's say you're making um a a red a red car and a black car. The process is the same, but it depends on whether like the paint that you get is red or black. It just produces a different color of cars. So the process of making a car is the same, but it's just depending on the paint, so the colors will be different. So so function is like that. And so a very typical example, we have used that function before. For example, we calculate let's say we calculate a sum of a list. So you take in a list, you calculate the sum. So a list could be different every time, but you do the same thing, you add them together, and then you give back the result, which is the sum of it. So so yeah, so oops, so that's function. And so let's try to run some code. For example, yeah, this is like we have the checkout list, and then we want to we want to have calculate the sum of like how much I'm paying, and then first of all we have the list, and then we have the catalog that we check how much each item is, and then just add them together and give that back the sum. So we can, instead of like doing that the old way, the thing that's on top is showing the old way of doing it in the previous classes, then we get previous tutorial episodes, depending on how you call them. We could actually wrap that in a function. So you have some function, you take in some parameters, and then you return the result. Well, in between you have to do something as well. Like most of the time you want to do something, otherwise it's doing nothing. That's not very useful. So let's try to write the function. So so this is a new tutorial folder. So I've copied all the code here because we're going to demonstrate how to wrap them in functions afterwards. But let's make a new file. So this one will be the checkout. So I have so many things that is about like buying things because like I miss going to like shopping. Wait a second, let me double check. I don't. Yeah, so these are the like. So I don't want to have the same name, so it's confusing. So this will be checkout sum. Uh, yeah, let's say .py. So it's what are you doing here? It's renaming. Sorry, I can sorry, give me a second. Yeah, Office is like too early and I yeah, and I'm not pressing the right button for some reason. Yeah, I want new file instead. Can I have a new file, please? Thank you. Yeah, check out some.py. So I have a file that's just in the new example here. Okay, so so we want to do these things and wrap in the function. So actually, I've write it before, just to just that I don't have to write it. You can see how slow I type, and I made lots of mistake. So and yeah, I just like have this script. So I was just gonna paste it here and kind of show you. So you can see that we have a function that we would take in a shopping list and a catalog. So for example, we have we of course we have a customer that buy a lot of stuff. So what they buy will be in a list. So you can see, like, for example, my shopping, we have my shopping list, so toilet paper and banana here. But the shop is selling many stuff, right? So the shop will have their own catalog. So I put it in a dictionary. That it will be a item name and then the price, kind of pair value, a key value pair. So so you can see that we have toilet paper, banana, and coffee bean. So they have things that like I buy and something that I don't buy. So but I just assume that there's three things available in the shop and they have different prices, and put it in the dictionary. So for this checkout function, it takes a shopping list and the catalog, and then so for each, actually for different shops you can have a different catalog, so you can pass in a different catalog here. But anyway, so you take the list, and then remember this list comprehension. So I'm using this here. So what it does is just like for each item, look up the um, you know oh, this is not right. Okay, let's fix that. So because we have the catalog, so we should actually oh, no. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Sorry, like it's like I said, it's like one is quite early for me. Like, actually, I wake up much earlier today, so that I didn't get enough sleep. So bear with me. I'm drinking coffee already. Um, so yeah, again, for we have a shopping list for each item in the shopping list. I looked it up in the catalog. So this is the key, right? So the item is the key. So it's the name here. So I put it in the catalog. So this will give me back the price of the items, and then I put that in the list. So this is the list comprehension, and then I just actually I should do this like dot sum. So um, yeah, so it's the sum of the list in here. So yeah, I think this one should work, and then you have the sum and you print it here. So yeah, I think this one should work. Like I said, my brain is not working very properly at the moment, and oops, you can still see it, right? Okay. Yeah, because like I'm also working on another tutorial that we will have a workshop for it's again, it's for beginners, but it's more data science focused. So we would cover topics that do some data manipulation, a little bit of machine learning, and a data visualization. So I'm also preparing the material for that. So yesterday is like just overloading with work. So yeah, so sorry about that. Okay, so let's run this script. So again, I can't remember where I am. So I go to the folder here. The date is the 3rd of May, and I have this example here, and I just run that checkout sum. Yep. return check out sum. So what's going on here? It's not. Oh, there's something like you may not see very well because like this, I don't know how. I don't know because I think because I copied the code, so it become a tab, but actually like it should be 4 spaces, so that's why it's complaining the indentation is not right. So that's very important in Python. Tab and spaces are different, so make sure it's 4 space, not a tab. So because I copied the code from somewhere else, it just messed it up for me. So that's why it's complaining. So we got another error. So item in item for item. Oh yeah, I shouldn't. Yeah, you can see it's full of mistakes. Um, yeah, my brain is not working that well, and also because like that's why this is. I think there will be we will have a tutorial in the future about testing. So that's why test is important because sometimes you make mistake and then without running the code you don't know you made a mistake. So um, oh I can't do it like this. Some here. Yeah, I can't remember like it's a built-in function. It's not for the list maybe. Yeah, it's just a built-in function. It's not the list built-in function. So my bad. I remember it wrong. Yeah. Yeah. So now it works. So yeah, the total is like £10.80. So yeah, so it's just like when we do the code, like for example, we have the previous one. So let's save this one and make a new one. Yeah, so let's just save it as temp. Can I just save it like so just demo.py. So this one is yeah, it's not that important. So just so let's run the code before, right? So run this code that is without the function. So yeah, let's fix this bug. So yeah, I just have a shop list. So here I need to have a shop list. So let's copy this thing. Yep. So I have to change the name of this as well. So this is the version that we are not using function. So we have a shopping list, and then for each item in it, again look up the catalog here and add them, like get all the prices and add them up. So this is the version without the function, and it should also still work. So yeah, so it's the same. But why do we use function? Because imagine now, like somebody, I actually, like for example, I give this code to somebody that oh, you can use my code, but you have your own shopping list and own catalog. So actually somebody, you can just like give this function to somebody. This is a function that do the checkout calculation. You just put in your own shopping list and your shop's catalog. That's it. And people don't have to worry about what's inside, what is calculated. They don't have to read the code. If you give somebody this, so they have to think, okay, so maybe I should probably change this and this. But what if somebody made a mistake, and accidentally changed this inside and, maybe redo my mistake again, then it's bad. So having a function, basically you wrap this up so people just don't touch anything inside a function and just, pass whatever you want to pass in here. So like, or also you can do this again with some, with another shopping list. So it's like your shopping list, so you can have the other things. Maybe the shop catalog is the same. We're shopping at the same shop, but your shopping list is different. Let's say your shopping list. So you have enough toilet paper. You don't want toilet paper, but you want coffee bean. Let's say. So now, so instead of to pay, so it's like you have so you have to pay. So this will be a your shopping list. So this time I print. So maybe like here I can print and I have to pay. to pay. So, and this one will be, you have to pay. You have to pay. So let's see what happened to this one. So you see that the function calculates, and the first time it go through will be like how much I have to pay, right? So it will be doing the calculation is like, thank you, the total is £10.80, and then after that it gives me back the amount, and then after to store into pay. So I can have my own. So imagine this checkout is a checkout machine. So it doesn't care whether it's my shopping list, it's your shopping list. It's just take a shopping list, and then it got a catalog from the shop. It calculate and just tell you, thank you, the total is this amount. And then when I see it, I can say like, oh, okay, I have to pay this amount. So I have to pay 10.80. And then when you use the same machine, so you put in your shopping list in here, your shop list, and it is it's the machine tell you it's £3.80, and then I saw that I tell you, oh, you have to pay £3.80. So this is how this thing works. Is you can you can argue that this is not super useful at the moment. You can just copy and paste this same code. Well, it's just one line, two line. Just copy it, and do it again. Well, but you can see that I made a lot of mistakes. So maybe like when you are working on your projects, very late at night, like me, you made a mistake. If you make one mistake, like this mistake that I made before, so if you copy and paste it, so the mistake will populate, it will become everywhere in your program. So imagine you figured out, oh my god, I made a mistake, I changed it back, I fix it. You have to do it every single time for all of them, and then you made a new mistake because of that. So that's not good. So that's why wrapping it in a function, so it's consistent, so it's the same every time. The only thing that's different is going to be the parameters, the inputs. So we call these the parameters, the inputs. They are the only thing that can change. And so when you fix a bug within a function, it's fixed everywhere. So which I think is very neat. It's very good. Um, hey, hello, good morning. Coke UK down. Oh, it's 94. I remember you. Yeah, 94. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for waking up so early. So yeah. So this yeah. So this whole thing, if you wrap it in a function, that's much better than copy and pasting. And you will also see the benefits in the future. You can actually, if you put it in another file, so we will talk about module a little bit. So if you put this function in another file, when you send it to your friend, okay, you can use this to check out your stuff, right? Even though I'm not in the shop, you can use this. So you can send this in a separate file with just the function, and then you can just write a little instruction saying like, oh, this function will take two things. The first thing, give the shopping list. The second thing, give your catalog, and you're good, and you will get the sum back. So your friend doesn't need to look at your code. Your friend could be not a Pythonista, doesn't know how to write Python, but oh, okay, that's easy enough. I just call this function and just give the two thing. Then doesn't need to read your code, and then this is simple, but you can have something super complicated like machine learning, stuff that even maybe a data scientist create a machine learning code and wrap in a function, and then this like he or she can pass it to their colleague, that their colleague is, yes, I remember, 3 p.m. in your time. Okay, that's much better. That's much better. um yeah. So if you wrap things up, and then so these data scientists could pass the function into like to his or her colleague that is a data engineer. Let's say the data engineer doesn't do machine learning, but the data engineer is very good at taking your code and plug it into the application. So so this is like how people can share code and communicate and can make Python awesome. So a big part of making Python awesome is to share the code, share the knowledge. So this is a very good way of sharing things. So actually, I just come to my mind that I want to add a little bit things that I wasn't planning to say, but it's good to say to talk about it here. Is that I can do 3 double quotation here, or you can use single quotation, but I like using double quotation, so 3 quotations. And then here you can put a description about your function. So this function calculate how much a customer need to pay, let's say. So okay, you can see that this, after I'm done, this is turning green. So what happened here? And actually you can have multiple lines as well if you have a lot of say, but I don't have a lot to say now, so it's just one line. And let me capitalize it. So what this does is that this is called a docstring. So I think I have to add this in the slides because it's just like I just think that I have to talk about it. So in a function, you can put a docstring inside a function. So I know that if you know other programming languages, you may put that before. So in JavaScript, you would put that like here. You put something like add parameter or something. I saw my colleague did that. But in Python, you put that inside a function. So after df, so df, this is the start of a function. So this is the function name. By the way, I think I haven't been very explicit. So this is the function name, and these are the parameters. And so this is the docstring. So come afterwards. So after the colon, it come. Oh, and by the way, like be careful of like the colon. I think a lot of beginners will miss the colon. That's something that I observed when I was teaching in another class. But yeah, so please, like if you see something weird that your Python is complaining to you, check whether you missed the colon. And sometimes check this, is it for space? I have shown you that it's easy mistake to make. So yeah, and then after that you put this docstring here. So this one is describing. So it's kind of like a documentation telling people what your function do. So if you passed it to your friend, then your friend doesn't need to see what crazy machine learning or whatever that you did here. It's just that reading this know that okay, so what I have to do, you can sometimes you can put like parameters, parameters would be, this is what I'm writing now is called a style of documentation. We can actually have another class about documentation. There's so much to say, but this is called a NumPy style documentation. So parameters you can have like short list. So it's a string. Oh no, so it's a list. And so you can put more here, like it's the shopping list of the client and things like that. And but yeah, we just like skip it like here and quickly put catalog. So this is a dictionary, right? And return. And actually, I don't think this is the like absolute right way of the NumPy documentation still, because I think I may miss the s. I may, I need to put more here, but just like you have a feeling how it feels like. So it will be return check out sum, which is a float. Yep. So yeah, so people just read that and know that what they have to do. They know what you gotta take in, what you gotta give out, and what this does, right? So, and you can see this is all multi-lined. So if you run the code, because this is, like I said, it's a documentation. So, hello, Python Ireland, yay! Thank you. Yes, documentation is very important. I hope you agree. So, yeah, so you can see that, you know, it still runs like before. It's just that this time if somebody read your code, they will have less of a trouble of what it does. Like if you do crazy machine learning things here, maybe people need to, do I have to study machine learning to read your code? You don't want people to do that. You can, you know, just explain, maybe this one will predict the price of your turnips for Animal Crossing. So this is it. You don't have to learn like, you have to do regression. It's just you just need to know that okay, predict the price for me. Good, I will use it. Um, so yeah, so this is it. And yeah, so I think we have like really played this a lot, but we have more to. We can still butcher this code and see what we can do next, because like I said, function is a very important concept. There's a lot, like even today I'm still learning a lot of things. So let's see. And yeah, we have done that. We have done write the programs, and okay. So interesting question. What if we skip the return? So let's say if you can see some of this code, actually there is no return here. Actually, you will see things like that. So what it is, like, why there's no return here? Will this be broken? What will happen? So let's try that out to see what happened. Oh, so you can see that inside the function it still calculates, thank you, the total, that's correct. But now I have to pay none. I have to pay nothing, or I don't know. So what happened? So actually, there is a default for the function. So if you return, nothing, actually it means return none. So like before, I think I've talked about this a little bit last week, that none is a thing, not true, not false. It just means that it's nothing in Python. So it's an object that describes nothing. So if you don't do any return, so the default is to return none, so return nothing. So that's why when we call the function here in checkout, so because you have done all this calculation, awesome, but if you forgot to return it, then checkout will got nothing back for to pay. So so yeah, this is how you call a function. You take in the input and run it, and then it will become the output itself. And you can assign to something else, or actually, if you want, you can just like print it out here. You can print, instead of to pay, you can print. But this time you will have the error here because yeah, let's not do that, and we just print it out afterwards to see if we have one more. Yeah, you can just print it. This one won't have anything because you forgot to return. So let's return it like we did before. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that now we can print it out. So the function itself will become what you return. So if you return nothing, that will be none. So it become nothing. So if you assign nothing to pay, so it become nothing. So don't do that. If you want to pass something back to another variable, remember to use return. That's again another mistake that lots of people make. They think that they can just print out things, it's fine, but well, sometimes it's fine, but if you do something like this, you assign the output of the function to something else, then you probably want to return it. So that's very blocking up. Oh, really? Oh, yes. No, that's the problem. Yeah, I would. Oops, okay. Yeah, that's the problem with my browser actually, because I I think I have to change the way I do this because I'm using the OBS, so I can't have this presentation as a full screen. Then OBS actually won't see that, so I don't want that. And then I just do it in a preview, in the browser, and that bar comes up whenever my mouse is there or something. So thank you for pointing that out, and now you can see it. I hope it's all right. So that's the first thing that we test is like, what if we skip the return? So if you skip it, it will return nothing. So if you want to assign the result of your calculation to something else, please remember and double check if you have because it could actually cause a lot of problem. Um, that's actually something that you have to be careful when you read a documentation as well. What does the function return? Because like before, remember the list.append. So let's, sorry, the bar again. Yeah, so let's make an example here. So we have the my shopping list. So let's say if I append something in here. So we do it like this, right? My shop list dot append. Append, let's say, what do I want? Magazine, right? Okay, I want to buy a magazine. Even though it's not in the shop, I will add that in the shop afterwards, maybe. But let's ignore that for now. So I do it like this, and so I don't do the checkout sum for now because otherwise I will have an error again. We just want to look at the list here. So I will append it. And if you read very carefully of the documentation of append, actually append tell you that this will return nothing. But this will change the list. So it does the job, it changed the list for you, but it will return nothing. So let's check whether that is actually returning nothing. So it could be like, let's say, Because sometimes people make mistake. I do make this mistake as well. I would put new list equals to my shop list.append. What would happen? Because this will return none, so it won't give you what you want, right? So print new list. So let's run the demo. Yeah, it will be none. It will be nothing. You see here at the bottom, nothing. Um, so sometimes it's really bad. For example, if you want to update your list, then if you're not careful, you didn't read the documentation, you thought that, oh, after that it will return my new list, I have to apply it to my original list so I have an update. No, then you will get what you will get is that you will get a nothing. So you ruin all your list, you ruin everything, you will have nothing for your list, and then the program afterwards will all crashed. So yeah, don't so be careful about this. I think this is a very common mistake I made a lot when I was a beginner. That because append return nothing, it just already changed that. So if you reassign it again to itself, it will become nothing. And then if you want to append another thing and you do that again, let's say you do it in a loop and then you append, so yeah, let's say like I have new items equals to, let's say I have the magazine, I have an apple. Oop, oop. So if I do that, if I write a for loop for item in new items, I don't know why it wants to add my message to send it to someone. Sorry, my Mac is going a bit funny today. Okay, so let's say I want to add the new item. So the correct way of doing this is to append the item, right? So now you would have, so this is the correct way of doing it. So you have the two new items there because append just changed the list. It doesn't return a new thing. So so that's that. But um, and it's but if I was not paying attention, I thought that okay, it adds something new and give me a new list, right? So I have to change my old list. So what will happen is that this code will give you an error. You'll be like, why I can't append? Why non-type? Because like I showed you before, this append return a none. So it doesn't return anything. If you assign it back to itself, then of course if you do it again, then this become none.append because none doesn't have append. So only a list like and something else have append. So it just break the whole program. And this is a very easy mistake to make. So if you see anything error like this funny thing that none type doesn't have something something, check whether you accidentally assign something to none because you wasn't paying attention that that function return a none. It may do the stuff that you want, but sometimes it doesn't return it. It also happen a lot with pandas. So if you want to become a data scientist or if you are trying to use panda in your data science work, pandas has a lot of things like something like pandas sometimes it returned a copy, sometimes it doesn't, it just changed the original thing, then it will return none. So double check. So pandas documentation site is a website that I would put it in a bookmark if you are using pandas because there are so many things and you would overlook and sometimes you got confused because of this. And so that's my tip for any new pandanistas, that if you use pandas, this is something that you have to double check, triple check your documentation. Okay, so that's that. Um, yeah, like you can see that I add a lot of new stuff whenever I go because I just remember, oh, I want to tell you this as well. So so what if I skip a parameter? Okay, let's see. Let's go back to our code here. So this is working fine. We have returned the check of some. It is working fine. And what if, like, let's say this function is perfect, but somebody else, this is written by my assistant. I'm not, I'm not in today. I'm having a holiday. So um, so my assistant say like, oh, well, we use the same catalog anyway. So maybe like I just put in the customers list. That's fine, right? Okay. So what will happen like this is that it's not running the correct code. Sorry. Python. What's that call again? Check out some. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have an error. So look at the error here. So I think that being able to read a error message is very important in coding because you know what you have done wrong and you know where to fix it. I think that really makes a difference whether you are experienced or not. Like for beginner, they will freak out. It's like, oh, what's happened? But I also make a lot of stupid mistake, but I know what mistake I made. So yeah, as you can see that checkout missing one require a positional argument. So Python doesn't like it if Python has like two parameters here and you only give one. Um, but actually, there's a way to work around it because sometimes, like I said, functions are meant to be reused, sometimes not even by you, by your friend, by your colleague, or maybe in this case, assuming I'm the shop owner, I write this code, and my shop assistant, use it, and the shop assistant just made this mistake, and my shop assistant thinks that oh, we have the same catalog for years anyway, so I'm not going to pass that in. So being a very very careful and very forgiving shop owner, instead of having a go with my with my shop assistant, I'll be like, okay, it's fine, I changed the code to take care of it, so like you all won't make this same mistake. So we can have a default for catalog. So this is how we get around it. So the trick is, so when you declare the function, you can actually put a default here at the top. So let's say the default will be the shop catalog. So because this function is mainly used in my shop, I occasionally give it to my friend to use it in their shop, but it's mainly used in my shop. So I would just default it will be my shop catalog. I only change it in a few years time. I mean, we more or less have the same thing. It's a very boring shop, but maybe in a few years I will have something new. I don't know. So, but I would just keep the shop catalog as a default. So my shop assistants doesn't need to worry about what catalog they pass in, because it would most of the time it will be the same. They could, if they want to, they could put the other shop's catalog here, but if they don't, they will still get a shop catalog. And also this time I want to put the shop catalog at the beginning because um, yeah, otherwise it doesn't know, oh, where's shop catalog is after. Oh, I didn't see it, so you have to put it at the top. Actually, like let's try to do it at the bottom to see like what happens, right? Yeah. So Python. Okay. So Python, there's a rule of thumb. There's some exception. For example, using in a class, there's some exception, but right now, just remember that Python only see things before it, because things go like from top to bottom. So if you put this shop catalog after it has been called, then Python doesn't see it, and then Python will complain like, what do you mean by shop catalog? I haven't seen it yet. So put that at the top. So you can see that I naturally just do that because I have been doing Python a lot, but that's something, again, like something that beginners could miss as well. So remember, Python only see things before. So yeah, now that we have this, so let's run this code. Right now it's working fine, working perfectly, and because we have a default, so we can actually skip a parameter and use the default. So this is very neat in Python. So there's something that I haven't changed before, that is like the changing order of this. So okay, let's go back to where we were. So I can leave it there, it's fine, it doesn't matter in this case. But let's say I do that before, like I have to pass in the parameter, I don't have a default. So how about I change the order of this too, right? So let me change the order of this too, whether the order matters, because I tell you that Python only sees things above. So does the in front and the back matters in this parameter thing? Sometimes sometimes the order matters, right? For example, remember last week we talked about the if course. It always checks the first one, and then it could skip the second one if it doesn't care. But so in this case, can I swap the order of the parameters? So let's run this. If if the order doesn't matter, then it should still run perfectly. It's completing something that I'm not expecting. Wait a second, not stir. What have I done here? Shop list. Check. So what line is it complaining? Yeah. This size. Yeah, I know. Like, cause when we pass it in, we have to also flip this order. So yeah, that's something that I made mistake. So yeah, if you flip the order at the top, well, of course, so that's something that I actually want to show you. So if you flip this order, you have to flip this order here as well, unless so now, okay, let's not do yours, just do mine as demonstration. So now I flip the order, and it's fine. It do my calculation right, but uh, oh no, I have to do that again. Okay, so but if I want to keep this order, so what I can do is that you can say this. So this is very neat things in Python that you can mess up the order, but like if you are not very sure that which order that comes in, sometimes it happens. For example, if you have a very recent example, I was working in some visualization tutorial. So sometimes for a Python functions that you use it to draw a graph. So there's a lot of things you put in, right? You can adjust the height, adjust the width, adjust whether it has a legend, adjust the color, all these things. So if I have to follow the order of the documentation, I will be mad. And sometimes I want to skip some argument as well. So the way to work around it is to specify what you mean. So this one shop list will pass in here, this catalog will pass in here, so the order doesn't matter anymore here. So yeah, it should. Oop. Yeah, now I have to block this now. Okay. Right, now it's fine because the one that I fix here, that I pass by this by assigning which one is the one that I mean. Now this one works, even though I mess up the order. So the other way that I want to show you is that okay, let's keep messing up the order, and let's okay, so let's do the default version, right? The catalog is the default, but this time we mess up the order. So but my shop assistant doesn't mess up the order, so I still put oh, my shop assistant just shop list, this list. Also, will this work, right? So this time we also have the default, so it works before when the order was the other way around. So what do you think? Does it work? Does it not work? So yeah, there's a lot of things like this, small things in Python that that you don't know whether that will work or not. So let's have a look. So no, it actually doesn't work, because you can see the error now is complaining something else. It says that non-default argument follows default argument. So in Python there's a rule. So you can have defaults, it's fine, but the default things should come at the end. You can't have a default things at the beginning and then have something else. So this is the tiny things that you won't notice after quite a while, because everybody do things like everybody do things like this, right? They would put this at the back. This is, you see this very, very often, actually all the time. So you thought that, okay, you will just naturally follow this convention, but I think that actually you don't know that it's not valid if if it's flipped. So that actually take me quite a while to figure this out. That you can't flip that because I just naturally follow what everybody does. The default comes at the end, but you have to do that because otherwise Python doesn't know what you mean if you just pass in something. So so that's that, and so I think there's a lot of things you can try, but I think that's the main thing that I want to show. I want to show that you can mess up the order if you being specified, which one is which, and the default, you can have defaults, and the defaults need to come at the end of all the parameters. Um, so yeah, those are the little tricks that like a lot of people don't tell beginners because this is quite complex. There's like, information overload, but I want to cover this. Like, again, don't think too much about it. Just good to know. Sometimes if you see errors like this, you kind of, oh, I vaguely remember. Yes, Python Island, because you are not a super beginner. Yeah, that. Oh, you didn't know that? Okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, like a lot of people, they like. I believe that you have already, because I know you have already do some Python coding, and yeah, a lot of people, even like people have done Python coding, doesn't know that, that's you can't put the default in front of the non-default ones. So yeah, so that's why like I want to cover all this. And if you think that's too much, you can just forget afterwards. Just remember when you see some errors like this, then you know that I've talked about that before. Come back and check, or you know put this in Stack Overflow. You will find what people answer your questions. Okay, so that's up. I'm not looking at the right window, and so another thing that I would talk about, again, a little bit more advanced than an absolute beginner, but I think it's good to talk about it here because when you see that, you know where to look. So, oh no, scope first. Okay, I was thinking about the keyword arguments, but I would cover that. I would cover that. So I'm afraid this will be an hour and a half again. Sorry, I talk too much, but I think I love talking. So, um, yeah, so scopes first. So scope, again, something that people overlook a lot of times, and I think if you have a programming background, it's less of a problem because it happened for all the programs that usually they'll have a scope, and um, especially in JavaScript, you have this let and var, and what's the difference between a let and a var, is about the scopes and super complicated. um, in Python, in my opinion, it's more straightforward until you go into classes and instances. I think, yeah, I went to see Naomi's tutorial last Friday, and then it's really like an enlightenment that like kind of answer a lot of the questions that I had for a lot of time. So that's why, yeah. So that's why it is it's good to go to all these tutorials. That sometimes you would, even though you think you know the thing, but you got this little thing that you may overlook. So yeah, so also scopes. So let's try this um, function. I so this is a mess now. So how can I? Okay, I will tidy up afterwards after the tutorial and upload it. But this one is our playground. The demo is our playground. So let's replace this and try to run this. So okay, before we run it, I kind of go through it so you know what you're looking. So we have this y. Well, this is not the shopping. This is just a very simple example. So y is 10. So I have a function. I take in a parameter x, and then inside the function I want to see what y is. So well, first question will be, will this have an error? Because I don't have y in the function. Y is kind of like outside. Does inside the function see what's outside? So that's the first question that I will be asking. If I look at it as I don't do Python, but I've done some coding before, then you ask this question. Okay, then you assign. So actually, yeah, assign x into y. So x, you would take in some numbers and then assign to y, and what will y be afterward? So that's it. So what's that like? So yeah, it's the question. And so and then so that before the function, so Well, you think that, yeah, y is 10. I think y is 10. That's quite straightforward. But we will check whether that's correct. And then we put in 99 in my function, which, x will be 99 here. So now we know. And then after that, so what will y be? So, okay, let's run that. And Python demo. Oop, I have a mistake. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Right, that's the inside function. Yep. So this is before. So, okay. So this is answer the first question. So whether, y would be seen by my func. So actually not. It is not seen. So this can't be seen by inside the function because we got this complaint. So because we got this, so before calling the function is fine, right? So the program, the program won't do this until this is called. Oh, so there's something that I forgot to tell you. So this is like how you define a function. So you define it, but it won't be executed. So what Python will do is like Python will see, okay, y equals to 10 is fine. Python will see that's okay. This is the function, so I won't do these things yet until you call me. So I will just take this and then create. So inside Python, it will create a function, called myfunc, and then it will take in an x. So that's all Python does when it sees this block. So it just create a function for you to call. And then Python will do this. So call before func y. So Python will print out this, right? Before, so it's 10. It's fine. That's what I expected. It's fine. And then now you call the function. So Python will execute the rest of it. Python will go to the object that created using this blueprint. And then now it will go into it. And then, so try to do this. And it doesn't work because y is not seen inside the function. So y is not passing here. So it will just crash. So the way to work around this is to use something called global. Oh yeah, why this is two spaces? Cause yeah, copy and paste. That's why. Okay, so global. So yeah, you can see that it's purple. So it's something special in Python. It's like return and def. So it's a keyword actually. So global y. This is something that again like it seems very simple, but I only know that after a while that I've been using Python. So because I need to say that because this is not a very good practice for some people. Sometimes it's useful, but a lot of cases people avoid that because it's dangerous. It's a dangerous thing, So that's why not a lot of people do that. Okay, so let's run this code. And now you see it works fine. Is calling the function is 10 and then inside because now I call global, so this y is this y, and then I change that is 99, and then afterwards it also become 99 because I directly change the thing outside, so it also populate outside as well. So Python would avoid, because in some programming language, that you can still execute this without the global. It just directly point to the global without you telling. It just some programming language does that. I think JavaScript does that. That's why you have the let and var to be careful. But Python is super caring, and it's just like, okay, it's fine if I don't want you to make mistake and super difficult to debug. If you don't say it's referring to the global, I would just assume that you're not. So I don't have y, so you have an error. Please fix it. So yeah, the global something that I again like most people won't talk about that to beginners, but I think it's good to know, and good to know the scope as well, because like if you have learned another programming language, this is something that is a slightly different from that, and it's good to know. And what else? I keep pressing the wrong button and like not looking at the right thing. I don't know why. I think because too many buttons. Okay. Right. So this is a simple demonstration, and now I want to talk about arcs and quarks. They have funny names. Okay, the bar is here again. Okay. So, and this is useful. Again, this is not a beginner thing, but it's good to know. Sometimes we don't know how many parameters we want to put in. For example, I have a very simple example here in the slides that if you have a sum that could take in any number of numbers, you can give me two numbers, I will add them up. You can give me 10, I will still add them up. So let me copy that. Actually, I like putting it in my atom. Right. So you could actually write a for loop here to add them up, but you can also use sum because I'm gonna explain this. So anyway, we just read this and run that for now, and I will explain. Um, so how can I deal with because I can put 2, 3, 4, whatever, how many number of arguments, but so I can't write 10 functions to deal with this. I can't have the first function is when there's two numbers, the second function is three numbers. Well, you never know. It's infinite, it's infinite number of numbers. So so how should we do that? So the way to do it is to use the star arc. So this is like a magic star arcs. So this means that I would accept any number of arguments and just put that all in a list called arcs. So let's try to run this. So Python demo again. Right. So it sums. Well, this is correct. 1 plus 4 plus 10 is 15, so it's correct. But what I want to do, so you already see that I use sum here, so I already assume that arcs is a list. But let's check whether it's a list. So print type of arcs. So what is arcs? So like I said before, is that's not any. Is it? Yeah. Sorry, the space thing again. You see, it's a mistake that I made a lot when I'm not paying attention. You can see that it's a tuple. Yeah. So it's technically it's not a list because it's not mutable. It's Python will pass this in because we said I think 2 weeks ago that the tuple and the list, they are more or less the same, but the only difference is that list is called by reference, so it's mutable. Tuple is a hashable object that is not, you can't change it. So there's reasons, of course, that why this is not changeable, but you can use it almost like a list. You can use some, and that's just so like I said, you can put any numbers of arguments. Just come here and put them in a tuple called arcs. So yeah, so this is what arcs does, and so but the thing is you have to put a star here. The reason being putting a star here is kind of it's the packing and unpacking thing. So it's when I'm going into really technical details, but I think for now you can just think of it as an interchange of a format. So here you can see that 1, 4, and 10, they're three numbers just separated by commas. They're basically three things. So I want to change that into a package of things. So I pack them into a tuple. So pack them into a tuple called arcs. That's why I use a star. So pack it up for me, please. That's what it does. So yeah, this again, I don't want to go into too much detail. This is supposed to be not too beginners thing, but I think it's good to know that when you see something like that, so what it does and why we do that, because sometimes we don't know how many things that we would take from the user, but just pack them into one package, and I will deal with that later in the function. And quarks is actually, do I have it here? Yes, quarks is actually similar to arcs, but is in a key value pair. So let's run this, right? So we have so this example here is that I want to, so remember we have the shopping thing example, the shopping example, we have the catalog here. And what if I want to be super nice that, if people don't know how to write a dictionary, they can just call this function and tell me what is how much. So so this function actually take all the stuff. So these are the pairs. So what's this, and take in all these pairs, and so now I'm wondering whether this would work, because this is, yeah, but anyhow, So let's try to run it. So just clear my suspicion. Yes. Yeah. So like I think the problem is that because this one I can't do it this way. So let me fix that. Yeah. Because like it's slightly different from a queue, so it needs to be a a. Remember when we do the catalog thing there, we yeah. So this is actually the name of the thing, right? And so yeah, remember when we do this, we put catalog equals to something and shop list equals to something. So there's no quotation. It's not a string. It's supposed to be a variable, well, a parameter. So you can't do it like this. But anyway, so yeah, you have to put it as a parameter here in the quarks. That's something that I overlooked before, but now I realize that. Okay, so you just put them in the so quarks now is like a dictionary. You can call items, and then there's key value pairs that you can construct a dictionary with it. So let's see. Yeah, now you can see that it becomes a dictionary because we construct them from the keyword arguments. And this time we use 2 stars because, well, you can think of it as because we have two things. We have all the keys and all the values. We have to pack them both. So yeah, 2 stars. Yeah, it's something that I don't think too much about. I think my mind will blow up if I think too much. So just remember, because there's two things, 2 stars. Um, and yeah, and then you can use it almost like a dictionary. You can call items. You can call the key and values as well. You can actually do like keys, and we don't have the value, but we can have equals to quarks. This is key. This one should also work. Yeah. So yeah, this is like a dictionary. Or you can, or actually, what I want to try is to just maybe um, return quarks as a, dictionary. So it should also work um, as well. This is a very silly example. This is basically doing nothing, but I just want to show you that it is, is a, I think it's a dictionary, right? Yeah. Let's double check, because like I kind of like it's slipped in my mind that actually, yeah, because arcs need to be a triple, not a list, because it's not called by reference, it's not mutable. So, but let's check the type of quarks. See what this is. Oop, right. Yep, it's a dictionary. So like, yeah. So I won't go into too much detail. So this is like, if you see something like arcs and quarks, that's that. And yeah. So I think that's it for functions. If you have any questions, please ask about functions. I think I cover a lot already, and so yeah, like I think the thing at the end is not that important for now. It's just good to know. But the most important thing is you know how to write it, um, you know, and you can use that in some of the functions, because we'll do that afterwards. So module, I would briefly go through what module is and usually how we use them. So simply speaking, a module is a file consists of some Python code that you could put in your other Python code. So there are some that's already it's come with when you install. So it's like buying something that like buying a phone that it come with the charging thing that you can charge your phone. So it comes with the Python that you install. They are the standard modules. So some of them we have used that before, actually, like in previous classes. So they are like copy, random. You have already seen how we use them. Math is useful when you do a lot of mathematical calculation. There are they're pi in it, so they actually not just functions. They also have some constants that is also available there. So yeah, so you would understand more about this when we talk about classes. But So today is more like just a brief introduction. So math, there's a lot of mathematical functions. You can have cosine, sine, pi, a lot of things. Another two that you may come across quite often is OS and path. So they are usually used to deal with when you run the Python function. You want the Python to also talk with your system. So sometimes creating a file, opening a file. So that's why you would come across those things, because you would see, you see them a lot, because when you run the function, you want your computer to do something, and they sometimes you have to work with your hard drive or work with your system. So these are common. Um, so except like so besides the standard modules that you can use, if you want to do something, for example, I always use this as example, like machine learning. Or Pandas, you deal with the data. Like Pandas is a very good tool. Um, if you deal with complex date time thing, data, or if you do machine learning, scikit-learn, or if you write a website, a website, Django or Flask, um, there are lots of other popular modules that you could install through using pip. So I think again, pip will be another class. I think yeah, there's so many things. Like now we open the door to a lot of different topics. So I think like starting from maybe a week or two after, then we would be more like it's not a sequence of things you learn one on top of each other. So far we are learning things like, oh, we learned these, we learned that, and then one sit on top of each other. But afterwards it may be a branch of different things that you can learn, and we focus on different topics. So pip would be another thing, like packaging, and also what is pip. And basically pip is just a package manager that lets you download these additional libraries on a official Python registry called PyPI, Python Package Index. So they have a website, so anybody can upload, can publish something on PyPI, and so that's why pip install. If you install something, you have to be very careful that it's not a because some bad people may make something a malware or something on pip, but usually the core developers, they monitor it and they will take it down if they discover it's a malware. But sometimes the damage is done because it takes them a bit of time to react when it's discovered. So again, like very careful when you pip install something. For example, like Pandas is popular. So if you Google how to install Pandas, then it will bring you to the official documentation and how to install Pandas. So I still do, like when I pip install something, I would Google it first, whether that's the correct and legit way to install that library that I want to use. I think it's a good practice. It will avoid when you have a typo, because you can see that my typo is horrible, right? What if Pandas, I forgot to type the S? I would install something completely different. It could be a malware. So I always Google and then go to Pandas documentation and then how to install Pandas, and then find that pip install and copy from there. It's supposed to be correct, and then use that one. So okay, I talk too much, but yeah. Or you can write your own. So there are many ways that you can write your own. So if you just write something for you to use, or you just like pass it to your friend, you could write it in another file and then just import that from another file. But if you're being more sophisticated, if you want the module that you write is available for everybody, so you want to put it in PyPI for everybody to use. So you have to put this module and then package it into a library that you can put it in PyPI. So that's another level of things that we won't cover now. But I think what we're going to talk about today is that where you install, you use the standard one, we have done that. You install the new ones using pip. I've talked a little bit about it. I can actually show you a little bit as well. Um, but I think it's worth an extra topic. And writing your own, of course, is another topic. Packaging is a very difficult topic. It's always something like to learn. I am a beginner of packaging libraries. I did one myself before. It's called PackMX. I haven't been maintaining it for a while, so sorry about that. But there's so many things to learn. That's why I started my own library. Like at the beginning, it's like kind of a pet project. I was just like trying to package a library. So so yeah, you can do that, but that's worth not just another tutorial, maybe another series of tutorial about that. So not going to touch it today. Um, so yeah, this is the thing that we may do: import another PY file into another PY file. So how to import it? So there's a lot of way of doing it. I hope this is not too small for you. If not, I will copy it into the Atom. I think Atom is more readable for some reason. So yeah. So you can import. This is what we did before, right? Import copy, import random. Um, Sometimes the library name is too long. We want to make it shorter. Like people are super lazy. Like Pandas is not that long, but like we still want to shorten it as PD because you use it a lot, right? You have a long program, you just want to type PD instead of Pandas every time. Or you can do that by using us. Sometimes you only want part of the module instead of the whole module. You can do things like this. So from random import randin. So I only want a random integer. I don't want the whole thing because remember random, it got like random choice, it got random decimal, like 0 to 1, random thing, a lot of random thing, but I just only want randin. So um, I just from random import randin. So this is how I do it. And yeah, so I think that's quite long already. It's more than an hour. So let's try to do some programming. Now we have already done some actually without thinking about it, but let's see if we can. So this is, if you were there last week, this is the same thing, but we gotta use function this time to make it prettier. So we do the same thing with the, pick the random fruit. Remember that, and also the Tom and Matt shopping combination shopping thing. Um, Before I do that, I gotta also go through a little bit of the homework. So homework, again, same thing. We do the same thing as last week, and oh, the screen is not doing well for some reason. Okay, it's fine. Coming back now. Okay, so homework this is the same thing again, but if you have done the homework last week, I want you to do just one thing to wrap things up in functions and make it nicer. Um, so let's do our coding. So go to what we did last week. So let's do the random fruit first. So random fruit doesn't have too much to 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 functionize, but what I want to do is like maybe I can make this a basket into the parameter. So I take it in, and I would return return the checkout instead of instead of just printing it out. So what I gotta do is that this will come afterwards. So I try to hide this because this is a parameter now. You can just call it, and checkout would be something that we store in the function, so it's fine. You stay there. So default def. I still don't know. Like, do I just say def? Maybe. um. So lucky draw. This will take a basket, and right. Yeah. So this is super easy. So yeah, return checkout. So when we write this, it's like actually I already write it in a fashion that it kind of like it's very easy to wrap in a function. So now we have the basket, and I could just do lucky draw the basket. So these baskets is different from these baskets. So yeah, the scope thing again. So actually I will call that my basket to make a distinction. So you kind of see this better. You can have the same name, it's fine. You can name it the same thing, but so it will still work if I delete mine. But I just want to make it more clear. So actually I can show you that it will still work if I use the same name. So oop, sorry, wrong thing. Oop. Ah, Let me clear that first. It's very annoying. Okay, Python. What's that called? Lucky random. Yeah. Right. So this is just work as before, right? Yeah. So there's nothing super fancy here for this one. I think the other one is more interesting. Yeah, but this is nicer. That's because you can do it again with another basket, right? So maybe another. So this time, let's say I have many more apples. So it's more difficult to get a banana. So see what happens. So I have many more apples here. Let's say, right. So this should be another basket. So maybe let's print. Try again. Another basket. Yeah, we'll see the difference between these two, right? So let's see what it does. Yeah, so you can see that actually like it's not that much of a difference, but I think we got lucky the second time. But you can see it left even like from this, we got like we have to draw more stuff until we got the banana because we have a lot more apples, so the chances of getting a banana is lower. So yeah, so that's that. And so that's why it's good to wrap in a function, right? Because we can try it with different settings. So this is super useful, especially in a lot of cases. But like what come into my mind again, because I do data science before. So actually the homework as well, like Monte Carlo simulation. So I think that's why the homework is very good example for this week, because it's a remember the second question was Monte Carlo simulation. So what you can do is like this one. So this is a hint for the homework. So you so for the lucky draw thing, you can actually like have something similar, like lucky draw for the bingo to get the bingo number. So you wrap in a function, and then you do the Monte Carlo simulation by just calling that function again and again and getting the result. I think eventually I want to show how to do that. Maybe next week. So so you but like I want to give people some time to try to figure it out themselves. But yeah, I will show you how to do this next week. It's like I said, it's quite a it's more like a proper use case. So this is like a game, right? This is like banana apple is like game, but that bingo one actually is something that could appear in data science. So yeah. And okay, Tom and Matt, I have hasn't forget you, hasn't forgot you. Yeah, yeah, hasn't. Yeah, that's weird. Hasn't forget you. Yeah, right. That's weird. Okay, so so yeah, let's write. Actually, this time, like, let's write two functions to do that. So I would write the function to do the combine shopping, and let's see, let's write it at the beginning. So I won't cheat. So define. So this is a function to combine the list, combine list. Hmm. My typing is what's going on? Okay, so I take two lists. Maybe I'll take list one and then list two. So I gotta do what I did before. So I gotta copy it. It's like that's good. That's why I think it's good if you have done the homework before, so you can just copy the thing. Um, so uh, I realized there was a spelling mistake. Okay. Um, so let's call that combine the list. Just make the name difference. Um, so I will copy it. Now this time I don't know it's Tom Shopping. It could be somebody else. So let's copy list one, and then for the thing in list two, if it's not in list one, then append it and remember, return the combined list. Yes, right. So that will be the first function. The second function is that if I have a combined list, and the catalog. Can I calculate? So this is like the this is actually, we can copy this from the checkout sum. So okay, so what I gotta do is I gotta import this module. So I gotta show you how to import another file into a Python file as well. So this is exciting. So I gotta do is that I will import the checkout sum. So right, so you don't have to do the pi. So it's just assume that it's a dot pi checkout. So we have this checkout function. I just gotta use this. How about that? Like, because I can put in the catalog and put in the shop list. So yeah, I would just do the checkout. Just have this one. So okay, so checkout sum is a bit too long, right? So what I'm gonna do is like s just cs like pandas, just two numbers, two characters. Okay, so what I gotta do is that I gotta use that afterwards. So when when I do the checkout, they gotta spend cs dot checkout. So it's not total amount this time. Is will be the combined list. So okay, maybe we one step back. So let's set this up first. So we have Tom's shopping, Matt's shopping, and the catalog. And the combined list this time would be just calling the function, right? So call the combine the list function and give Tom and Matt's shopping in it. Yep, so now I have a combined list, and then the combined list is a combined list. I don't have to have total amount anymore because the checkout sum will do that for me. So what I gotta do is that I gotta just call that one. So total amount is equals to check CS. So I've shortened that dot checkout, and would be the combined list, and the catalog will be the catalog. So this catalog will be this catalog, so it won't look at the other one. So yeah, right. So this can be total amount now. We don't have to change this actually. Okay, so let's see if this work. Python. This is combine shopping, combine checkout. It works. So so yeah, you can see that. Yeah, we also have this. So this is from our other thing, right? Our checkout sum. So so thank you. The total is, so this is from the other checkout sum. So this is how you import your own code to another file. So yeah, I think this example wraps up what all the things we learned today. So it's just perfect. I was thinking a little bit about that. I wasn't planning it, but it actually works. So it's good that I can show you how you can import the module as well. So it's been 1 hour and a half. I thought that it gonna be 1 hour because I don't have that much slides, but actually each slide contains a lot of stuff that I want to tell you. I may add a little bit more detail in the slide, so when you get it afterwards, you would have more notes to care, like to look at, and do the homework, please. I know it's difficult, but I hope that you at least try before I showed it, like next week or so. So yeah, so next week will be a challenge because we gotta go into classes and instances. So it's kind of if you want to learn it, if you can't wait, go to see Naomi's video. I think she did it last Friday and the Friday before. She talked a little bit about the classes and instances. I think last week is more advanced. It's also talk about the stat mode and stat method, class method and stat method, and also talk about like the decorators. But I think the week before she talked about this, and I am sure she did a really good job. Even though I wasn't there, I missed that one. But yeah, you can go there, but I will try to cover this next week, and it's gonna be like we are starting to become, we are not zero anymore, like people. If you have been watching this until this point, you you can already write in Python. You can already write Python code like better than a lot of people. Trust me. Like you are not zero anymore. But we are not a hero yet. So we're still working towards becoming a hero. So, like I said, I think after finishing next week, we already like have enough foundation that we can go into different specific topics. Um, I think we kind of already passed the beginner's point in my point of view. Well, there's a lot to learn always. So the line between beginners is very, different, but we already passed all the very, very basic material. Congratulations. Give yourself a big round of applause. You have done very well. And so I think next week, going to more advanced topic classes instances, I will show you the answer of the homework that we want to achieve. The bingo thing, the Monte Carlo. That's the real life situation that you would see that in machine learning things like codes. So yeah, you should give yourself a pat at the back that like you have done very well. I'm so happy for you as well if you have been following and if you have been doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you for if you have watched it live. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I like looking at the chat room and see what people type, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sorry that it's a bit long. I know that it's difficult to stay for the whole an hour and a half, but like like I said, you have done a very good job. If you have been following till this point, you can do a lot of things with Python already. Um, and if you come into any problems, I hope you learn the skills to find things, on Stack Overflow. If you come into like some common mistake that I talked about before, you know that I've talked about that, and either you come back to see what's going on, or you already have the confidence to look for the answer yourself. The My style of teaching is that always want people to help themselves. They learn how to find the answer themselves. So that's why I try to give you a lot of information. Yeah, like I don't expect you to remember everything, but the only thing that I want you to know is to know where to look, how to look for answers, how to help yourself. Because nowadays we like, especially developers, we are in a world that there's lots of things. Things are always changing. But the internet is your best friend. There are lots of people there happy to help. So have the skills to look for help on the internet is something that's very useful for developers. So I hope you have been enjoying and doing well. And I think next week, like I need to change this. This is actually I want to change it to 2 p.m. so it's easier for a lot of people. We will try doing that like for next week and maybe a few weeks to see how it goes. I will change that. So this is not one. This is two. Two. I can change it here, but yeah. Um, and yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day. And I will see you actually tomorrow for if you're interested in web development. We're gonna continue building our website for Animal Crossing. So I will see you then. Bye bye.